feel like we need an intro, like song or music, like da-na-da, we're back, live at Lake Ave, like with like lights flashing.
Yeah.
And all
I could
that. So,
introduce you guys.
Yes, exactly. Meredith can introduce us. She can have a theme song. I'm open to suggestions, guys. We have, maybe every week we start off with a theme song.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like we were capes.
And capes.
We should get T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
So, anyways,
Yep.
hello from Lake Ave, guys. Nice to be back here again. I'm Janna, for those of you who don't know me, and I'm joined
with Christina.
And today we thought we'd talk about innate health. And so we were just kind of brainstorming and talking about, what innate health means. And I've definitely had some new insights this week, and just some ways that I'm seeing my own innate health and seeing the resilience in others and seeing the resilience in all of you guys. I love to see all of your comments and watch these videos and the videos up north and the groups and, all the sessions that we're doing, and just sort of how we continue to be resilient and persevere during these challenging times, but also how there's that idea behind we all have innate health within us, and how the world that we live in has this innate health within it as well. So these were some of the things that came to mind. Christina, if you want to talk about your list here and start off. Yeah, the little things that we wrote down, just kind of get the juices flowing.
So when I think of innate health or just wisdom within our thoughts and everything, I come up with this list. These are just different things that help remind me that, like, my inner thought or my inner person, my, like my Jiminy Cricket, right? That's the one that's always telling me that this is a good decision and this is what I need to make, or, helps me weigh pros and cons depending on what I'm doing. Or, like, right now I'm super nervous to be on Facebook Live, and so my little Jiminy Cricket in the back of my head is telling me, you'll be fine, it's okay, relax, calm down, you teach this every single day, there's nothing to be nervous about, and but yet my thoughts are just going crazy and I'm overthinking the whole entire process, instead of just really focusing and trying to be calm in that moment. Because as soon as I'm calm and I relax, right, those thoughts they go away. And then I'm able to really listen to whatever my innate health is really trying to teach me in this moment,
And how do you think that happens? Like, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing to make yourself more comfortable? What are you doing? Like, these thoughts are all going so crazy in your mind and you feel so nervous.
Right?
Like, what do we do with that? Like,
I don't know, because, like, usually I go and I listen to music, which helps me calm. So in this moment, I think it's just a matter of just my self-talk, and reminding myself that it's okay. Like, there's really nothing to be nervous about, It's no different than if I had a room full of 16 people or even 4 people,
right?
Exactly.
And it's all how we think about it, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to do anything. So as we're sitting here and we're talking about this, or you're thinking about, right, like right before the first time I did this, I'm a pretty outgoing person. I don't get embarrassed too easily. I went through that stage already, so it's just kind of like, it's better to just laugh at yourself, and all you guys can laugh at me, as I'm sure you all did with my last.
But we laugh with you.
We laugh with me. Some of you were laughing at me, but those dance moves were pretty epic, if I do say so myself. But as we're talking, as we're moving through life, as we're moving through the experience that we're having, we're not analyzing it, we're not judging it. So the more comfortable we become, that just happens naturally, right? So we don't have to have that inner voice telling you to, okay, I'm just going to make sure that I'm deep breathing and I'm going to think about every single thing that's going to come out of my mouth before I say it, right? When we just trust the process, when we trust that instinct, when we trust the natural progression of how we just function in the world, and that it doesn't really need to be a planned out thing, then it just happens, right? So as you're saying, it's like, oh God, but I don't have my music to listen to right now. And that's where it kind of comes in, where I love when people are like, so what coping skills do you have? Like, what coping skills do you tell people to use when they're having cravings or urges, or they're worried about relapse? Like, what are your coping skills? And for me, and for, the music just made me think of that, like, the best coping skill you have is just to be present with yourself, is to listen to that and to trust your innate health. right? Because if I'm thinking to myself that I need a coping skill right now because I'm nervous, so like, oh God, I don't have my stress ball right now, like what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, oh God, I don't have my music, so I'm not gonna be able to calm down. But it's not that, right? It's not the music that's making me calm. It's not the stress ball it's the thought that, oh, I'm feeling my thinking right now. I'm feeling my thinking in the moment. And that awareness is all it takes, right? So, yeah, absolutely. Have things in your back pocket that are going to be helpful to you. You know, if music is something that helps you, or coloring, or going for a run. But just know that if it doesn't work that time, it doesn't mean it's never going to work, because it's within the idea that I'm feeling something within myself right now, and I want to escape out of my discomfort, out of this zone, out of this shakiness, this anxiety that I'm in right now. And so, I'm looking outside of myself, right? And that's what substances do, right? We look outside of ourselves to become more comfortable. Yeah. So if I can see that in the moment, all it takes is that awareness. And that's what's so cool, is because you always have that within you. Mm-hmm. So there have been days where I'm like, I'm just in such a mood, like I can't shake it, I'm just in such a bad mood. And somebody would be like, oh, well, why don't you try going for a run and exercising, like get those endorphins pumping. And I want to be like, no, go fuck yourself, I don't want to go for a fucking run right now. Sorry, there are no children watching, right? Nope. And there have been times where I'm like, okay, fine, I am just going to try going for a run. And within that run, like the first mile, I'm like, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. Or I am crying because I'm thinking about something and I'm trying to get over it, I'm trying to process it, and I'm breathing in the fresh air, and I'm having all these thoughts. And then at some point, right, it makes it worse, right? Yeah. And I'm not enjoying the run, I'm not present with it, I'm probably about to trip over myself because I'm not paying attention to anything except for the chatter that's going on in my mind. And as soon as I wake up to that, right, my thinking changes by itself. It's not within the run, it's just that's what thought does, right? Like clouds in the sky, like the weather, like it was snowing this morning, and now it's not. So it's the same thing that happens. And there have been times where, like I said, I've been running, I'm crying for the first mile, and then all of a sudden maybe I'm distracted because I see a dog, or I'm more present with like not getting hit by a car, or a song comes on my headphones that I really enjoy, or I'm just present with the beating of my heart, or my breath, or the pounding of my feet on the ground. And I'm not really worried about it anymore. And there are some times where that works, and that's great, and I feel really good when I get back. And there are other times where I turn around and I'm like, you know what? It's not doing it for me today, and that's okay. Yeah. Because it naturally just passes on its own. So the biggest coping skill that you have is within you. And I think that that's one of the coolest thing about having this understanding of the principles, is that I'm never alone with it. You know, there's always something to connect me to. Even when I'm feeling isolated or self-quarantine because of everything that's going on right now, I'm still always connected to something bigger, right? And that's that principle of mind, that universal energy, and that we're all connected in that. Yeah. We all have that ability.
That's our insight, and I think that's the great thing about the principles, is that, it just brings us to that insight and the awareness of what is going on in our minds. And once we have that ability, that recognition, we're able to just relax, and it just happens naturally. And then all of a sudden our thoughts just kind of subside. And then that's where we, develop that, again, the awareness piece, and we just really recognize, okay, this is what my innate health is teaching me to do in this moment. And then the calm just kind of comes over, and you're just able to, relax. Yeah.
So are you feeling any differently right now than you were like 5 minutes ago or before we started this?
It comes and goes.
Well, and that's the beauty of it, right? It comes and goes, and maybe right. You weren't thinking about it until I just asked the question, exactly. Right? And then you're like, oh crap, wait, now I'm nervous again, right? But like, you weren't doing anything other than just being present,
sitting
being here,
right?
Right?
Exactly.
There's nothing outside of yourself that needs to change.
Yeah.
And that's what's so cool, because we're all perfectly imperfect. We all have within us everything that we need. We're not broken. We don't need to be fixed. We have this, and we lose sight of it from time to time because we're human, and we get caught up in our thinking, and we get outside in, and having a whole conversation in my head. You know, I'm not like really, so don't worry, I'm not like hearing voices. But right, so I'm sitting there and he's like, you done? And I was like, no. And he's like, okay, how about now? And I was like, no, I'm still frustrated with the situation and I'm still thinking about it, so therefore I'm still frustrated. And then I said, you know, it's 8 o'clock, tomorrow's a new day, maybe I'll be over it then. Because I can restart my day. And then I was like, wait a second, I can restart my day. I can restart my day at any time. Yeah. So I'm choosing to continue this thought cycle of being annoyed at something, and which now, today, Wednesday, I can't even remember as to what I was annoyed about, and that's how much, like, how quickly it can change, right? And I looked at him and I was like, I can restart my day at any time. And he was like, okay, yeah, and I was like, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. And I just kind of sat with it for a little while, because it was like, yes, I want to think about this and harp on it, right? About some meaningless argument or whatever that we had, then yeah, sure, I can sit in that for as long as I think about it. But as soon as I have that awareness that I'm just doing that to myself, right? I'm creating that internal conflict and that discomfort within me. It's coming from me, not him, even though I really, really want it to be coming from him, but it's me. Then it kind of resolves itself. And I'll go in and out of it, right? And that's kind of why I was like, so I get to choose. Do I want to restart my day right now, or do I want to continue to sit in, like, my own shit and be pissy?
How often do we do that, though? We always, like, we get stuck on that emotion and that thought, and we just go round and round, like the hamster in the wheel, right?
God,
like a hamster gets in the wheel, and they just go and go and go and go.
Yeah.
And we just sit there and process it and overthink it and just...
Oh my God, if I was actually on that wheel and thinking about it, like, I would burn so many
right?
calories. I'd be in such great shape.
You
are. Like, really?
Who would need to have to exercise?
Exactly. I would never have to exercise if I could just burn the calories with the thoughts in my mind.
Yeah.
That hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Erin said that she was outside at 2:30 this morning, and she was watching a meteor shower with clear skies, and then at 6:30 it was snowing, and then at 7:30 the sun was out.
Wow.
Yeah, just like her thinking. Yeah.
Hi, Erin. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so true. So true. It just ever changes. Or even just the thought of watching a meteor shower, right? Like the stars are just falling, one right after another, and it's our thoughts are the same way. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of which one we're gonna really grab and hold weight to, and really just stick with it until we choose to have that awareness piece and allow it to just pass us by. You know, why sit in that if we don't have to? You know. Yeah.
I'm thinking about, the stars and the meteor shower and things changing and, like, waking up to that innate health and the potential that we all have. And I'm wondering, for you guys watching right now, and also, Christina's one of our newer clinicians. She's been with us since, like, October of last year, so 6 months.
Yeah, almost.
Oh, your review's coming up. That means.
Perfect. Okay.
Exactly.
We'll schedule that.
I'm judging you.
Yeah. Now she's got more thinking. Yeah.
Right now she's going to have more thinking about that.
Do we have reviews during this COVID-19 pandemic, or do they get pushed off?
Oh, yeah. No, there reviews about how Christina handled herself during the COVID. All right. I have a lot of thinking on that. But anyways, I'm thinking, for you being newer to the principles and for you guys out there, but when was your first kind of experience, like, when did it click for you? When did you first kind of see, like, oh my God, that's what they're talking about, like, that's what innate health means, or, oh, that's my gut instinct, that's what's guiding me right now, I can listen to that, and that's kind of telling me what I need to do for myself right now. Because I have some very specific moments in my mind that I can remember when I started doing this, working at Barnum 3.5 years ago, and when it started clicking for me. So I'm just curious if anybody has anything they want to share, or for you, not to put you on the spot, except for you're on the spot. What kind of stands out for you? What clicked for you?
I don't think I have any one thing that really stands out for me. And I say that only because, like, before I came to Farnham, I was practicing a lot of mindfulness-based just techniques and everything. So I had some of that awareness, but a lot of my light bulb moments tend to come when I'm focused in on like a group and I'm teaching other people. And then it's their insight that comes out. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wow, that's a light bulb moment for me, you know? And yeah, that really makes sense, and that's a different way of looking at it, you know? So it's more when I'm teaching. Occasionally, like regular day-to-day life, I'll have those moments, especially like if I'm frustrated or I'm just stuck in my thoughts. And then lately I've really been using the hamster wheel, thought process with myself, just really being aware of, okay, I'm stuck in this thought, it's not really needed, I just need to jump off, like, let it go, you know, let the wheel just keep going, and I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna, go do something else.
Yeah, get off, and maybe you're a little wobbly and a little dizzy from that hamster wheel running around, right? Maybe your heart rate's up a little bit, but then everything settles down again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. How about you? What are some of your like major light bulb moments?
So for me, and as you were talking, and I'm gonna embarrass you a little bit now, but
it's all right.
Christina texted me earlier today, and she's like, I'm really nervous about Facebook Live, and like, oh, here's my plan, and I think that we should do this, and I'm gonna show these PowerPoint slides, and I'm gonna write this on the board, and like, what do you think? And I'm like, yeah, I think that sounds great. And then I said, but I don't really think we need it.
Right.
And I said, the PowerPoints are great, and I love them, and I said, it's always good to have that in our back pocket. I said, but one of the best things that I've learned is that I don't have to go with it, but I used to like remember planning my groups ahead of time, like making sure I had all the photocopies right, and like I had all these exercises ready to go, and like when I used to work at my past job, it was okay, I have these handouts, and people are going to do these worksheets, and this is going to happen, and then this is going to be accomplished, and then this is how it's going to go, and it never went like that, right? And so then maybe I would internalize that or think it was because of me, and I was doing something wrong, or I wasn't running a good group, or I wasn't a good clinician. And now it's like I can go into a session, I can go into a group and have a topic, not have a topic, and it just flows because it's real. And that's what I love about it, is I get to be me every single day at my job, and I get to interact with people that I love and see just the incredible potential that every single person has. And one person can say one word, one sentence, and it just flows. And it explodes into this amazing conversation, and you can tie the principles into everything.
Oh yeah.
And I'll never forget, some of you may have heard this story of mine before if you've ever been in a group with me, but as a lot of you know, I'm a very avid hiker. And so a few years ago, I guess it was like 3 years ago, 2017, and I started at Farnham in October, so this was July, and I was going on a trip out west with my dad. It was to Seattle, outside of Seattle. We were going to climb Mount Rainier in Washington State. And for those of you who don't know, Mount Rainier is the 6th largest mountain in the U.S., and it's a big glacier. It's over 14,000 feet high. It's a pretty big trek, to say the least. And I was feeling pretty nervous about it, but I was really excited. I didn't have a relationship with my dad for a good 18 years of my life. And so this was we had never been on a trip together, and he had climbed this mountain back in the 80s, and it was his 65th birthday and my 30th, and so he wanted to have this experience together. So it was, there were a lot of really amazing memories and moments during this trip. But so we started off this climb, and you have to go up really slow in order to acclimatize. Otherwise you get, oh my God, now I'm forgetting what it's called.
Difficulty breathing.
What's it called when you get the altitude sickness?
Yeah.
Altitude sickness. Thank you. Like I couldn't remember it.
I don't hike.
So anyway, so I'm climbing up this mountain, climbing up with my dad. I'm on a team. I'm the only girl. There's another. There's our guide, who's amazing. He's just this world-renowned hiker. He's climbed Mount Everest multiple times. He does rescue missions. He works in the ER as a nurse. He's a volunteer firefighter. So, he's incredible. He's climbed all the highest peaks in all 50 states and all 7 continents. So I felt very safe, to say the least. So we start climbing up. It's this, you have to go up slowly. So, we're acclimatizing and going up, and it's beautiful, taking in the moment. I've got this really, really fucking heavy pack on. It's like 70 pounds, and we're going up, and we're making progress, and it's just absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful, the scenery, and just seeing, this starting off at the base where, it was sunny and beautiful, and there's flowers and trees, and then all of a sudden you get up and you're in the snow. And so we camp out on the glacier, and going up the next day, the first night, it's at like 9,000 feet that we camped. We started at about 5,000 feet, and the next day we go up to about 10,000 feet, and everybody starts talking about the altitude sickness. And they're like, so do you feel it yet? Do you feel it? Do you feel the altitude sickness? And I'm like, do I? I don't know, maybe. What is it supposed to feel like? So I'm like looking for this feeling of like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be maybe I have a headache, right? Or maybe I feel nauseous, or maybe my stomach's upset. These are all symptoms of it, right? And so everybody's talking about this altitude sickness, and I'm realizing that like I'm creating the symptoms for myself that's not even real. And I'm like, maybe I should just take an Excedrin or an Advil just in case I get a headache, right? And I'm like, no, you know what? Like, I don't need to do that. I don't feel anything right now. Just because everybody else is freaking out about it or talking about it doesn't mean that I'm feeling it. So then I started thinking, I was like, oh, isn't that cool that like my body knows what to do? Like, it knows how to produce maybe more, I don't know all the scientificness behind it. Scientificness, is that a word? Erin's probably laughing at me right now. I always make up words. But like our white blood cells or red blood cells, probably have to expand, or there creates more of them, so we're getting more oxygen, right? Because as you go up higher, the air is thinner. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I'm like, oh, that relates to the principle of mind, how our bodies just know what to do. Right. Oh, all right, that's kind of cool. So anyway, day goes on. Now we're on day 2, and we keep climbing up. Day 3 comes along, and people are still talking about the altitude sickness. This poor kid that we were with, he's this 22-year-old, and
Janna words.
Janna words, yeah. He got an upset stomach, used all of my toilet paper, just saying.
Aww.
Yeah. So, and you're on the side of a mountain, and you're in a harness, and like, you can't just go pop a squat in the woods somewhere, people. So you are exposed. Right. You are vulnerable to the extreme. So day 4 comes along, and that's the summit day. We have to get up at about midnight in order to reach the summit by about 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. And you have to do that because the temperature gets warmer throughout the day, and then there's more risk of avalanche. So you start your climb in the middle of the night. So it's cold, I'm nervous, my heart rate is going up, like this is it, this is the final push, and I'm like feeling really jittery, but also really jazzed and excited, and I'm on this trip with my dad. So we start climbing up really slowly and making progress. We're on a rope team because basically, like, if you look off to the right, you could fall to your death, or you look off to the left, you could fall into a crevasse, which are these big cracks in the ice. So we're climbing up, and there are these little bridges that are put, and you hold on to, like I said, you're on a rope team, you're in a harness, and you're holding on to the side of like a little rope, and then you basically walk across like a plank. Picture walking the plank. And if you fall off, it's like you fall to your death. Luckily you're on a rope team. So there's the guide in front of us, then my dad, then these 2 other people, and I'm at the back, the strong ones at the back. I'm just saying. So my dad Jim, our guide, goes across first, and then my dad goes, right? And he's wobbling on this like skinny little plank over this crevasse in the ice, which is a giant crack, and he falls. And he is and we all have our headlamps on, it's dark, right? Like you can't see anything, it's pitch black. My dad is fucking dangling over this hole of darkness, and I can see in my headlamp, and I yell, Dad! And like, of course, it sounds really dramatic, but it was scary, right? I was legitimately scared, and we all pull on the rope so he doesn't fall, and I could see him just like being like, ow. And he had dropped one of his gloves, and he had hit his hand on the ice, and so we pull him out, right? And our guide's like, all right, Steve, you're okay. Like, come on, let's keep going. We're going to keep moving. And he's like, can you move your hand? Yep, okay, great. It's not broken. Let's go. So we just keep marching upward. My dad stops, and he's like, my hand really hurts. I don't have another glove. So I end up taking some of my dad's weight out of his pack. I put it in mine. I give him my last set of hand warmers. I give him my spare gloves that are warmer than the ones I have on. So now when we keep moving forward, and my hands are really, really cold, and my pack is way, way more heavy, and I'm like, oh, this is so frustrating. I'm exhausted, I haven't slept well, like we've been on this mountain for 4 days, my hands are cold, my pack is heavy, why did my dad have to fall? And then all of a sudden, nobody told me to, but all of a sudden this little thought popped into my head and was like, Janna, you're fine, your dad's okay. look where you are right now. And I just looked around, and in the distance I could see the lights of Seattle starting to come up, and the world, the city waking up, and over further another direction I could see Portland, Oregon, and the lights of that city waking up, and people starting to wake up. And I looked up, and it was the clearest sky I'd ever seen, and the most beautiful stars, and I saw a space station fly overhead, which I've never seen before. And I realized my hands weren't cold anymore. My pack wasn't getting any heavier. The sun was going to come up and warm my body, and that I was okay, and my dad was okay, and we were all on this journey together, and we were all connected, physically by a rope, but also we were all connected on this mountain. And it was like that moment where these principles really, really sunk in for me, because I was like, if I paid attention to that heavy pack, to the coldness of my hands, I would have missed all of that beauty. I would have missed the lights coming up. I would have missed that space station overhead. I would have missed the journey, right? And so it just reminded me to keep moving forward, and that we're all on this journey, right? And our packs are going to feel really heavy sometimes, and our bodies are going to be cold and tight and tense, and we're going to get scared, and we're going to be sad, and we're going to have these emotions, right? But just as quickly as we have them, they also
subside.
Yeah, they also subside, and answers just come to us. And so we moved forward, and we made it to the top, and we did it. And it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And I'm so thankful for it. I'm so thankful for the principles, because I don't know that I would have I'm sure I would have still had an amazing experience and enjoyed that, but I don't know that I would have fully and as deeply really taken as much away from it as I did that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
It-
that's one really
cool.
quick.
So Jennifer's like basically crying. She has chills, and that was beautiful. But she wanted to share that her first insight that she had was at Ray House, and she was going to bed sad every night thinking about her children. And then Chris had done a group on thoughts, and she remembers going to bed that night again, missing her kids again, and then all of a sudden a thought came through that it was like, this is just my thinking, even missing the kids, and that she's doing the best thing that she can for her children is to be there. And since then it's just gotten easier to recognize, yeah.
And that's just it, right? Is like, it gets easier to recognize. The more we see it,
Yeah.
the more we experience it, and the more that we are aware, the more our awareness increases, the easier it becomes, right? And then it's like, oh my God, I see the principles everywhere, every day, whether it's just in people watching on the street, or if it's in a movie that I'm seeing, and realizing, not even just for myself, but seeing how other people get so caught up in their own thinking. And that it's innocent, right? It's that innocence behind life that we all get caught up in it, right? And that we can really move through life and enjoy it. We're only limited by what we think and how much we focus on how heavy our packs are. And sometimes, you know what? Our pack may feel really heavy, but I can take something out of it. And maybe I can ask somebody else to hold on to it for a little while. Right? Maybe I can spread it out, or as I keep moving forward, I get used to the weight, right? I'm growing stronger with that. And so being able to ask for help, just like my dad his pack was too heavy for him, he was in shock and he was in pain, and I took some of that weight, right? Just as he probably would have done for me. And so, again, it's like that connection, and how the importance of being able to reach out to one another and seeing that we're all in this together.
Having that support system is huge, for all of us. Just like you said, that connection, so that we can each carry one another and help one another through whatever we're going through, especially now with this whole pandemic and change of life and all that kind of stuff. We need each other now more than ever, because we don't have that in-person connection that we used to have anymore. It's all over computers.
And that it's, and it's not personal. I remember, like, at the beginning, and at some points, it may feel like this is happening to me. Like, why is this happening to me? What did I do? Why is karma a bitch? And, like, taking it out on, no, it's not personal, right? It's like, we're all in this together. So being able to see that no one's better than anybody else. Nobody's doing coronavirus or the pandemic better than anybody else. Like, that's not a thing, right? It's supporting each other. And I think that this is a reminder of how maybe we have disconnected for too long, and the world is trying to remind us to be kind and caring, compassionate, and support each other and support the planet that we live on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So sorry, that was kind of a lengthy story.
No,
but that
it's-
was like my really huge
That was a good
That was-
story. I don't think I've ever heard that story
So.
before. So thank you for sharing.
Thanks for listening.
I liked it. Yeah, that's some good insight for sure.
So, anyways, I think we're about at time now, but if there's any more questions or lingering thoughts, please feel free, ask away.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say before we wrap up here?
I don't think so.
How's your anxiety now?
My anxiety's good.
I'm
I'm calm.
Exactly, just those anxious thoughts.
Just right, exactly. Just the anxious thoughts. I had to get over them and stop thinking about them.
Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah.
and it's Earth Day, so what an appropriate story for Earth Day.
Aw,
Yeah,
nice.
Perfect.
I
like it.
Get out there, get outside, even if it's just for a little while. My dad always says there's no such thing as cold weather, just improper dress. So bundle up, get out there, enjoy the fresh air, take some deep breaths.
Yeah.
Because you're all worth it and you're all awesome. And thanks for being with us today.
They're saying thank you.
Welcome.
Love you
guys.
guys.